I recently spent some time figuring out our net worth, and today I'm going to share the steps that I took to get that calculated and our progress so far in 2019. Hi friends, welcome to the Budget Bounce. I'm Jen, and we use a budget to tell our money what to do, including bouncing debt out the door. We share the ups and downs of living life on a budget and tackling a $252,000 mountain of stupid debt. If you'd like to learn more about being intentional with your money and telling your money what to do, then stick around and hit that subscribe button below and make sure to tap the bell so you'll get notifications every time I post a new video. You can find me on social media, just look for the Budget Bounce. I'm on Instagram and post several times a week in between videos, so you can find out more over there. So let's talk about our net worth. I think it's important to start by talking about what net worth is. It's actually a measure of your financial health, and the goal is to increase it over time. Net worth is made up of two components: assets, which is all the things that you own of value, and liabilities, which is all the things that you owe. Assets can include anything of value, such as investments, real estate, vehicles, and anything else that you have that might have some value to it. And liabilities will include things like your mortgage and your car loans and your credit cards and student loans. To calculate your net worth, you just subtract your liabilities from your assets, and whatever is left over is your net worth. And yes, sometimes that means it could be negative. I calculated our net worth recently, so I'm going to jump over to the spreadsheet that I use so that it can walk you through all the different steps that I took.
All right, so here you can see the spreadsheet that I was working off of. We'll start with assets here in this section. You can see here that I have 7 columns that represent our different asset classes. So cash reserves are, that's representative of our balances in our sinking funds and our emergency fund. And then the next 2 columns are for our retirement accounts. There's Matt's pension at work and then my 401k. Then we have our house, we have our house followed by our 3 cars, our Traverse, Lucerne, and Trailblazer. When we go back and look at each one of these, so the cash reserves column, that is tied into my monthly budget tabs and reflects real numbers that you see in my budget videos. So these are actual numbers through July, since all of these months have been closed out now. And these are estimated numbers through the end of the year. For Matt's pension, I'm totally guessing. I don't currently have access to his account. And not that I couldn't. I could actually have access. I just haven't slowed down to do that. We happen to be going to a workshop in September it's like an all-day workshop to learn about all the retirement options that are available to state employees. So when I leave that day, I will have access to all of that, and I will be following it closely and then updating this with actual numbers like I did with mine. Here, this is my 401k plan through my employer, and I went into the last business day of each month to determine what my value was for my account. And as you can see, it has steadily gone up over time, most of the time. It is down a little bit. This is all estimates for the rest of the year. You know, it could do any number of things. So it's just an estimate. I will update these as the months close. For our house, you kind of saw this when I was scanning over it. What I did here was, this is an average of Trulia, Zillow, and Realtor.com. I went to all 3 of those sites to see what they say the value of our home is, average those out, and come up with $140,600. And then for the Traverse, the Lucerne, and our Trailblazer, I actually went and pulled all of these off of Kelley Blue Book. And I've just pulled these down throughout the year, but I'm wondering if I should be updating this more often. If you have an opinion about that or know anything about how Kelley Blue Book works, feel free to leave me a comment below and let me know what you think on that. But I started with where it was in January, and I've been pulling that down through the year. And just a note so that you know, the reason why the Trailblazer is set so low at 500 is because it doesn't run. That engine blew a year ago, and it's going to cost about $2,300 to replace it. And that just has not made it to the top of the priority list. So 500 is the value if we scrap it. I'm just going to leave that there. But once we get it fixed, we will, when we eventually replace the engine, then of course this value is going to go up a bit. Okay, here are our liabilities. And oh, I meant to say the totals for everything are elsewhere, and I am going to go over that with you. But this is our liabilities. So again, listed by month, we have our mortgage balance, and then we have all of our debts. So the mortgage balance is what it is. I pulled this off the amortization schedule. We aren't changing our mortgage payments this year, so I know this is exactly what the value is going to be as we move through the year. And then for the debt balance, this is tied in, again, this is tied into the spreadsheets that I use to do my monthly budget reports. So all of these numbers are actuals, and the rest of these are estimates, just what I think is going to happen through the course of the rest of the year. So if you look here, you can see we started at 96,000 and change at the beginning of the year for the mortgage, and by the end of the year, we'll be almost down to 94,000. And our debt balance, we started with 229,000, and we're going to have that down to 200,000 by the end of December. So that's going to improve little by little each month as we go through the year. Okay, so here are the totals that I mentioned. This is where I am putting together all of the totals for our assets versus our liabilities. So all the columns of assets added together in January totaled 190,000, and all of the two columns for liabilities totaled 325,000. When you add those two up, our net worth at the end of January was $135,252. Negative. So then I went through and I did this for each month, and you can see our assets are going up a little bit each month for the most part, with the exception of May, which was kind of ugly. And we'll talk about that in just a second. And then our liabilities are going down each month. Those are steadily going down each month. And like I said, these are real numbers through July, and then estimates for the rest of the year. Now, I added a column here. So let me just go back to, we started at 325,000 for liabilities, and I expect that we're going to break the 295,000 mark by the end of December. And then our net worth started at minus 135,000, and I'm hoping it will break 93,000 by the end of the year. Now, looking at the difference, this is a formula that I figured out the difference between this number and this number. So our net worth went up by $5,312 between the end of January and the end of February. And then you can see each month it continues to go up a little bit until we hit May. So if you have not already seen my May budget report, you might want to watch it because it explains why we have such a huge negative on our net worth. Excuse me, why we have a negative on our net worth instead of a positive here. May was the ugliest month that we have had so far in our journey. We've been doing this since February of 2018, and May we had to use, I think it was like $3,500 between our emergency fund, sinking funds, and not paying anything to our snowball. We had to use our whole snowball that month in addition to the other two to be able to get through everything that happened. So we bounced back in June. July is a little slower, but I think I have something in the wrong place because we should not be going negative in August. There's got to be something incorrect on my August tab somewhere. So I'll get that figured out between now and when I finalize August. But as you can see, over time, this is adding it up. So over time, we've already increased our net worth by $22,694 so far in 2019. And hopefully by the end of this year, we will have increased it by more than $42,000. I did one last representation so that you can see this. Let me just scroll up here. I put it in chart format for those of you who are visual folks as opposed to the numbers and that kind of thing. We've got a little bit of both here. So what we have is the purple lines represent our assets and the burgundy lines represent our liabilities. The black line across the middle is our actual net worth. And over time, the purple lines will grow, they will be taller, and the burgundy lines should be shorter. And I really can't wait for the day when the burgundy lines don't exist at all. And as that happens, this black line is also going to move up. And eventually it's going to be all in the purple. Eventually, someday. But until then, we will continue to chip away at the mountain of debt that we've incurred and just keep an eye on how things are going. Thanks for watching, and please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And also consider subscribing. Just click on that subscribe button at the end of the video or below, and feel free to share this with anyone that you think might find it interesting. That's all I've got for you today. Until next time.